Right, so on the agenda is declarations of interest, and I haven't received any. And the next item is public participation, and I'm sorry for the wait. Paula Orell, Director and Principal Curator, and Christina Pickford, Chair, Centre of Contemporary Art, have a presentation for us. Welcome. I think this is the first time that you've come and presented to the council.
It's the first time
to this one?
This current
yes. Okay. Right.
Presented to some of the members in the past, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you very much for giving us the time today. It's really appreciated. I'm Christina Pickford, the outgoing chair of Centre of Contemporary Art, and Paula Orell, the Director and Principal Curator. So we're just going to share the presentation today. It'll be quite quick. And we're going to look back over the last 6 years, what we've been doing, but in particular the last year since the gallery's been open. And I'm going to look more at what we did over the period of the earthquakes and a little bit of history about the organisation for those of you who don't know that, and then Paula will talk about what she's been doing in-house for the last year. So this is the gallery today. You can see, you can sort of see in there we've got a lively cafe on the ground floor, which hopefully you've all frequented, and also looked at the gallery inside as well. But it's looking fabulous today, and it's really, I think, contributing to the Gloucester streetscape. So really briefly, just a little bit of history. Coca's got a long and proud history. It started its life as the Canterbury Society of Arts back in the early 1880s. Oh, I don't know, this might be on automatic, is it? Is it just going to, I don't know. Anyway, it started its life in the early 1880s. Initially, the society didn't have its own building. It is going to just flick through. How can I control that? Sorry, it's just a little bit too fast. Is there someone who can? We'll be at the end of it before. Yeah, so it started without its own buildings, and it just used various buildings throughout Christchurch.
Are we going the right way? So if you go, I think it's just timed.
Yeah, how do we stop it being timed?
Just so I can set it up that way, I think.
Oh, is it?
Sorry.
Okay, I'll try and keep it. Okay. So it was the first. So then the first gallery, purpose-built gallery, was built later in the 1880s. It was a Mountford building on Gloucester Street. It was more recently the Environment Court building, and it was demolished as a result of the earthquakes. It was the first dedicated arts organisation in the region, and it was first to exhibit and collect works. And in fact, the Canterbury Society of Arts ceded the historical collection for the Christchurch Art Gallery. So it's got a very long and proud history. The gallery relocated to its current home, 66 Gloucester Street, in 1968. It's an exquisitely detailed brutalist building, and it's an exemplar, I don't know why you're laughing, an exemplar of the modern movement in Christchurch. And it opened, when it opened, it was the cultural heart really of Christchurch, and it had shows which would see queues out to the river. And actually the opening show, which you can see there if you look carefully, the pictures on the wall, it was an international artist, Sidney Nolan, the Australian artist, with his Ned Kelly paintings. Oh. So it had a very, very vibrant and rich beginning. And you can see full house. It's the interior of the gallery, much as it looks today, with crowds of people. And it also celebrated local artists and cutting edge contemporary shows right through 60s and 70s. Arguably the gallery sort of started to maybe lose its way a little bit in the 80s and 90s as the rise of dealer galleries became more prevalent in the city and art societies fell out of favour. And actually before the earthquakes, the board started to look at what the new vision would be for Coca. And then the earthquake struck. The gallery was first forced to close in February, and luckily we were really well insured, and we had $3.5 million spent on the building to strengthen and repair the building, and a further $900,000 on betterment to bring it up to the 21st century. So that was a big project for the board, but we also took that opportunity to really look at what COCA should be in its future. And that took a lot of the board's time and energy, and we took it very seriously. So the future purpose was, we determined that COCA would become a true centre of contemporary art. We wanted to put Christchurch on the map for contemporary art. We would exhibit curated shows which would champion the best of this region's and this country's artists. The work would be challenging and would excite. It would provoke and encourage conversations about contemporary life and culture. We determined early on that the gallery needed to have reach outside of its gallery walls to engage the broadest cross-section of the community as possible. This would be achieved with public programs, specialist youth programs, and by constantly looking for opportunities to collaborate with other organisations and community groups wherever possible. And also in that time we realised that the fiscal and financial management of the gallery would be really important if we were to achieve all these things. So we've put in place a very, very strong governance and management structure to ensure that the gallery would thrive. And we've got a rigorous business plan which would ensure that. So we're going from strength to strength now that we've been open for, 10 months? Mm-hmm. We opened in February this year. We're just about to open our 4th show tonight. But there are constant challenges. I guess that's the nature of a small arts organisation. We have a small but tremendously dedicated and capable team. And what I want to do now is hand over to Paula, who will talk about how she's brought the board's vision to life over the last year, and she's been instrumental to what we've achieved thus far.
So this is the purpose and our ambition. I think you'll see that it says purpose, and that's very critical to COCA. We have an ambition for the city, we also have an ambition for New Zealand, and we have an ambition for the artists in the community that we serve here in the city, as well as the artists that are kind of representing New Zealand nationally and internationally as well. This statement is at the heart of where we are. We are engaging our community and we are enriching Christchurch. We certainly are ever more vital, and I'm here to really tell you about what our future is and what we're doing now, and to tell you more about what COCA's been up to in the last year. It's been an incredible year. We've survived 2 earthquakes, this building, and our small team have managed the extensive work that goes into actually ensuring that this building is opened again to the public. So our history is critical, but also our future is critical as well. What we are doing, we are making contemporary art relevant. So the public is at the heart of how we present artists' ideas. It's really important to us how we engage people in contemporary art, because contemporary art isn't the most natural art form to kind of gauge and understand. And one of the things that we do, especially with our volunteers, and we rely heavily on volunteers to translate contemporary art for us and make it accessible and enjoyable and for a wide and diverse audience. So I want to say that because actually that's the role of curators, and that's the role of an art gallery, is to really open up the ideas of what artists are creating in the world and to translate those for people to actually genuinely get an experience from as well. Because ideas, conceptual ideas, aren't naturally translated. And artists who are making work today really want to question the world that we're living in as well. And that's what we do as a contemporary art programme in the city and heart of Christchurch now. We collaborate with our arts community. This is absolutely critical to my vision of COCA. How we're doing that is that this year we curated an exhibition called Contemporary Christchurch.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Contemporary Christchurch was selected by curators in other institutions and art galleries in the city. So we invited the curators at Christchurch Art Gallery, Island Art School and Physics Room to select artists that represent what is contemporary in Christchurch at the moment. And also significant to that is that in a sense of collaboration as we go forward, I have true ambitions to really see us collaborating together with our neighbours, with our other organisations to celebrate the visual arts and contemporary art in Christchurch together and collectively work together. So that will be my job in the next 2 years, to really kind of focus on that vision and perhaps even establish a collaboration which could be a festival, an event that we all develop together in the city, to really engage a new audience in contemporary art as well, because that's at the strength of kind of really what I'm trying to do for COCO, is to bring a new audience into the city. We are completely different to our neighbours, but we are together and working together as well. It's amazing actually that the resource that the art gallery give to us and their team as well, especially their technicians and the support that we get from their production. So that is a true kind of collaboration as well. What we're doing also is implementing a programme to support young people in the city to really think about some of the key issues that they're dealing with and that are affecting them. We've been able this year, with the support of the City Council, to produce a work with an artist, Audrey Baldwin, in the city. She's based in the city, to produce a series of workshops with young people about the ideas and issues that are affecting them. And Cardboard Confessional is a project that they produced and spent over 6 weeks with this artist thinking about and spending their weekends considering an art project. And my experience of working with young people is that art actually opens new opportunities. It actually transcends the opportunity to think differently, but also for them to think about their future as well. It's certainly, all art forms do that, but the proactive way that artists work with young people is what we really want to try and enable as we move forward. We're establishing an associate programme for artists and curators in the city to help them and develop their practice, their professional careers. We live in a very slightly isolated place, as you all probably experience, and that's really critical for me. I come from a background of actually living in a place very similar to Christchurch as well, and how to enable artists and further careers is something that I've done before. So it's you, actually, the Christchurch City Council, have helped us do that as well through the support and funding. So what we're doing, we're creating an international centre for contemporary art, that every city in the world has an amazing mix of art galleries. We have presented not only exhibitions of artists in the city, but also artists coming from further afield. This is a work by an artist called John Aconfa. We genuinely had 5,000 people experience this work of art that was commissioned originally for the last Venice Biennale. Precarious Nature, which we opened today, a strange coincidence that we opened this exhibition. And it is truly about climate change. It's truly about human impact. And I know from my experience of curating it, it actually has also opened my eyes to the impact that I am creating on the world and how perhaps I may think about and how I operate in the future. So we hope for the audience and the public who we engage with this exhibition to really consider that as well. So your contribution is vital. Your support until now has established the Associates Programme. It's ensured we're open and free to the public and enabled our artistic vision. Your support into the future will continue to create a vibrant arts hub for the welfare and well-being of our community, help commission new work and support leading artists and emerging stars, help establish a unique arts education programme, and put Christchurch onto the international arts scene map, which is truly my ambition to do that. We believe that art inspires new thinking for our society, and your support and looking forward, we hope to build a closer relationship with you as City Council so we can offer more to the people of Christchurch and really truly do what a city like Christchurch can give as an experience, a major centre for contemporary art in the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that these small snippets at the beginning of our meetings are probably not ideal for a presentation of this substance, so I will take that on board for the future, but thank you very much for coming and making the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Could I invite Janet Begg and Mark Gerard?
Right. Thank you, everyone. I believe that Joe Daly's bringing around a copy of my speech. The subject is Council's replies to our... Thank you. Council's replies to our submissions to the Christchurch City Council Annual Plan. Submitters to the Christchurch City Council Annual Plan request more specific replies to their submissions, rather than only the generic letter signed by Dr. Carleen Edwards, Chief Executive. Her very good letter ends, "On behalf of the Council, I would like to thank you once again for the feedback you provided and for taking time to contribute to the consultation process. Your participation is important to us and highly valued." Now, that lovely letter was sent to all of us subscribers, but it doesn't cover any of my subjects in my submissions. For instance, I, Janet Begg, have personally requested a full landscape plan to be prepared for the Sydenham Cemetery at 34 Roker Street. I've requested that landscape plan in 2014 and in 2015 and this year, 2016. This year, so too have requests been made by Ian Hill, by the Summerfield Residents Association and by the Sprayton Heathcote Community Board for that Sydenham Cemetery landscape plan. Having received no reply, I've tried to get information through the Council's Public Participation Manager, Di Keenan. Di has tried very hard to find someone to answer my requests. They all just say, it's not in the cemetery's master plan. Well, look, we all know that. At the public hearings on Saturday the 14th of May 2016, Mayor Leanne Dalziel said that she had been disappointed with the generic reply that she'd received to her submission to the annual plan in 2015. Leanne said that she believed that this year it would be better. David Close reminds me that when the wonderful Julie Sadler was Council Secretary, she always wrote specific replies to our annual plan submissions. I'm very grateful to Megan Pearce, Council's Hearings Team Leader, for her assistance. Megan's letter acknowledging receipt of our submission, number 14898, also said, I will write again advising you of the Council's decision on the issues raised during the submission process. Now, wouldn't that have been lovely? Megan very kindly couriered me hard copies of the 2 volumes of our submissions, so I've been able to read every one of them. Thank you, that was marvellous. Thanks, Megan. Please, Mayor and Councillors, may we have more specific replies to our annual plan submissions? And I've just given a list on page 3 of some of the people that I've contacted who would like to have come and supported this as well, because they say, yes, they agree, they would like very much, please, to have specific replies. Thank you.
I'm coming here with support. I'd like to support the intention. I think it's appropriate if the citizens take time to make submissions to the annual plan that they get specific requests to their submissions. Our only recourse is that if we don't get a reply to the letter, which used to be custom at the council, would be to do a login request, which I'm guessing will probably tie up more staff time if we make requests for the documentation related to the council decision making and staff reports. And I'm guessing that you would prefer that it be all done as part of the annual plan process than us make individual requests for information.
I'll just comment on Janet, your point about what I'd said about receiving a generic reply. It was a generic reply pretending to be an individual reply to the specific issues that I'd raised. So we may not have got it exactly right, and we certainly haven't got it right when individuals come with specific, very specific issues, like a landscape plan for a cemetery that falls outside the master planning cemeteries plan, which you've got advised you already knew anyway, so which was why you were here asking for an individual one. So, but you know, the annual plan process is not certainly the long-term plan process, but also the annual plan process is not a very good way of dealing with these issues either, because as I'm very aware, there's a whole community group that sits behind the desire for the plan around Sydenham Cemetery. That's right, isn't it? Is it Sydenham or Addington? Sydenham. And people want to play a bigger role in looking after their local cemetery. And I know that there are a lot of parks where local communities feel the same way. And I think an agreement was entered into with the Avonhead Residents Association just prior to the election for them to take over a particular role in relation to the cemetery. So these things, I think, would actually bear much greater fruit if we were to highlight these specific issues and pull them away from the annual plan, unless they need budget allocation, in which case it is appropriate to put some element on the budget to cater for it, but then pull it away from the annual plan process so that we can actually have a conversation with the local communities about these issues, rather than see them tied up as having been dealt with or not dealt with by way of a submission, because it's leaving too much to chance, actually, that somebody will take the time to make the submission on the annual plan, and that it will be of sufficient weight as against all the other submissions that come in, that it will rise to the top. And I think that there are some things that come through the annual plan process that would actually benefit from a different approach. So, but thank you very much for your presentation this morning. I think you've given us a very good steer about the direction that we need to go in, and we need to probably work through that with the management of the organisation, and to see how we can get the community engaged in those conversations a lot better.
Specifically related to the letter, could I just ask, just point out that most of the submitters made a submission to the full council, and I understand Dr. Carleen Edwards signed the letter. My understanding is that Environment Canterbury Dame Margaret Baisley signs the letter. It's probably one of style, but it would be appropriate, since we made the submission to the full council and councillors, that the mayor send the letter as opposed to the CEO. No criticisms of the CEO.
I didn't want to sign that.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's...
The organisation wanted me to sign the letter, but I didn't like the letters, so I didn't sign them. Sorry.
One of the process.
So I sort of copped it from the community boards as for the ones that I did sign, so I probably did the right thing. But no, I agree with you that from the point of view of the council. But look, we want to do this way better. We want to. We haven't got it right yet. We tried it a little bit differently last time. And we're just really open to a new way of doing things. This is a new council. We've gone well over time. So, look, thank you very much for your presentation, but you have given us food for thought that we will take on board, and we will address it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I have Tracy Charnock, who's going to speak to us regarding item 5, options for addressing fast food retail outlets. Thank you very much for agreeing not to speak last week so that we could hear from you today.
Oh, that's fine.
And yours is a 10-minute deputation by appointment as...
is it 10 minutes?
Yeah, we're actually speaking to an item on the agenda this time.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Thank
well,
you.
first I want to say, is it on? Yeah. Thank you so much for letting me speak this morning. I really appreciate it. This is something I'm actually quite passionate about. First of all, I just wanted to start on, I know last time I was here, I needed to define more what a fast food outlet is. So I've got like a specific answer here at the moment, and that is that fast food are high fat, high salt products, usually deep fried and ready to eat. They include dine-in options and convenient drive-thrus. Fast food outlets have a chain of stores throughout the cities, big advertising, large signage on their buildings that can clearly be seen from like hundreds of metres away. Also wanted to talk about how these fast food outlets are actually quite largely addictive and very expensive and also convenient. Like, fast food is an addiction, and it's a very serious issue in New Zealand, just as much as alcohol, drug abuse and gambling addictions, especially in Christchurch post-earthquakes. Like, experts say that people are more likely to be vulnerable to addictions due to traumatic stress. Fast food addictions are extremely concerning, as these lead to serious health issues, accounting for 80% of preventable diseases, including type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke and cancer, as well as mental health issues. And obesity being the largest problem we face, this can be associated with respiratory problems and can play a role in development of sleep apnea, learning difficulties and depression. The effects of these health issues over a long period of time can also lead to death. Recent reports state that 1 in 3 children in New Zealand between the ages of 2 to 14 years are obese or overweight. Most experts believe this is due to living in an increasingly obesogenic environment. Many studies conducted in New Zealand and around the world show similar correlations between low socioeconomic areas, health issues due to poor diet, and the amount of fast food outlets clustered in one area. Almost all of these areas had neighbouring schools. Linwood used to be a residential area, with Linwood Ave schools serving the children in the area. Since then, this has been changed by council to a commercial zone. Fast food outlets don't need consent to build near the school, and now this has been taken over by 4 major fast food outlets in the area and 2 more to be built in the near future. I find this quite contradicting, as the council invests money into health food education while allowing fast food outlets to build and display large signage in view of schools that promote healthy eating. Health considerations are an important part of the district plan, especially for our children. The Christchurch District Health Board have included in their 3-year submission plan back in 2013 for one, safeguard the diversity of food retail around built areas through its district plans and the restriction of fast food outlets near its schools. Their reason for these plans are to promote the reduction of adverse environmental effects of the health of people and communities, and to improve, promote and protect the health of New Zealand through the New Zealand Public Health Act. Fast food outlets could be regulated under a public health bill, as this proposes significant public health risk, as many papers have provided evidence for. Council should aim to reduce significant health risks in the communities and create a healthy place for us to live. One way of reducing these health risks within Christchurch population, more importantly children, is to reduce the prevalence of fast food outlets near schools. We as a country are starting to see the significance of this issue, and we're starting to take action. Auckland City Council are exploring the idea of restricting or limiting new fast food outlets to a 400 metre radius from schools and early childhood centres by adding a minimum distance requirement. And Wanaka have a strong group of locals who are gathering a community action around this idea also. Christchurch City Council should lead the way by promoting healthy food zones around schools, by restricting fast food outlets in these areas and establishing a health food criteria for existing fast food outlets. Just want to say thank you for taking this issue into consideration and listening with me today. Now I encourage you to take necessary steps for the future of our children and our city as a whole. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Questions? Pauline.
Thank you very much. Just picking up on your comment about addiction, have you got hard evidence of that? Where did you get that?
I've got research and I can find it and forward that to you if you like.
I'm very interested in that, because
Okay.
I tend to agree with you on that, and I think that's a key element that we possibly haven't addressed a lot in our conversations about this, but it's the addictive nature.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great, thank you.
Yep, Glenn, then Yanni.
Thank you again, Tracy. Something I've been thinking about is the council is about to invest a major asset in the sort of the area and the social context out of which your submission first comes in Linwood by way of an aquatic centre. Could you see that as a potential build in association with the wider community to address this issue. So what I'm thinking is of, can we use that as a, as an alternative in terms of health all up, as a way of...
Do you mean within Linwood?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what you mean though, sorry, like...
Okay. Because there are some wider social issues giving rise to this. It's not just about food.
It's not just about food?
No.
You're saying? What
Yeah.
else do you think it's about?
Well, I think what you're identifying is the confluence of the socio-economic area with the prevalence of fast food outlets.
Yeah.
And we have that information over other things, pokie machines, liquor outlets, etc.
Yeah, I understand.
So I just wonder whether we could build something there that is, promotes health.
Okay. I still fully don't understand, like...
Oh, that's okay.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Danny.
Thank you. Thanks for all the energy and time that you've put into the deputation and to this issue. I was just wondering if you could just elaborate what the school currently does to promote healthy eating.
We have, like, on a Wednesday, we pay $1 on a Tuesday, and on a Wednesday we have, like, healthy lunches. So it's affordable for the parents, especially in a low socio-economic area, where they pay $1, and the next day they get the children involved in the hall to cook and prepare, like, healthy lunches for the Wednesday, which is a really, really good idea. They also do have breakfast in schools and stuff, so it's healthy breakfasts and stuff like that. We also had, like, a I don't know what you call it, but it was like a health food day probably a couple of months back. So the whole hall had, like, little wee stalls, and we were, like, all about promoting healthy eating. Like, it wasn't just healthy eating though, it was like brushing your teeth and just all healthy aspects and stuff like that. And I do know also that Gerard, when he was principal, he was putting forward some sort of health food like things throughout the school, like for in the classrooms for them to be teaching them. Like, it was going to be like a big thing for a couple of months. I'm not too sure if that's still going ahead. I should really look into that since he's not principal. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
A lot of schools have, they insist that their children bring healthy lunches. So,
Yes,
and
there's
they
also
have
that as well.
they have little inspections of their
like
thing.
chocolate and
so
stuff
they
like that.
can't
try and minimise
bring
the
that onto
chocolate.
the school premises.
Yeah.
Good. Yep.
One of the issues I have is more around sugar, and your fast food obviously is a lot of processed food and that sort of thing. I'm thinking if we're going to go down this track, we need to actually start looking at, like, sugar, because I mean, one of the things is when I was younger, we had a very poor family and we couldn't go to fast food, but we could go and buy a can of or a bottle of that $1 fizz, which gave us our hit, and I think that's one of the bigger issues as well. So I mean, if these kids can go to the supermarket at Countdown and go buy 79-cent 1.5 litre drink of budget lemonade or something like that from the supermarket. What can we do if we're going to be going down this track to try and limit, building or allowing a physical structure? What can we do alongside that? Do you think that we can actually start educating people that actually it's not so much about that food, it's also the sugar content and all those things?
Well, yes, like, you can go, and I've actually seen numerous children first thing in the morning with frozen Cokes on their way to school, and they're only $1, they're really, really affordable. I think they need to be, like, promoting, like, within the fast food outlets, especially around the schools, like, a healthier alternative that is affordable. Like, they could be selling, like, a healthy smoothie for $1, or maybe something a bit more affordable that they can, and promoting that around schools, like healthy lunch options as well, like, that are affordable, and they, like, could be advertising and targeting children, so they're still using because obviously that's what their marketing is targeting children, but in more of a healthier way, especially around schools.
And so do you think citywide we could have a little bit more of a something that actually starts to change the conversation around actually what, to get that hit? What's an alternative?
Like, what's an alternative to sugar,
Yeah.
you mean? Like the smoothies?
Yeah. So do you think there's something wider we can be doing in that respect?
Yeah, I think there's a way that we can be, like, promoting it more, like, healthier. Yeah, like, affordable, healthier, but still, like, is advertising for the children that is low in sugar.
Yeah, I think. Bill.
So just briefly following Dion's question, how much of what needs to happen should be sort of like an educational type campaign, so people are more aware of how to eat healthily and the dangers of the junk food?
Well, I think yes, we do need like something like that, but also I'm about more restricting the fast food outlets, and with the existing ones more placing like a healthier options within them. So promoting that, like advertising more healthier options within fast food outlets, that for the children, are advertising.
We can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way you can put like a health food policy in place for the existing outlets around schools, so they can work with schools and come up with healthier options? Like even if they work with the schools in the area, like is there any way
we can pass a policy, but that doesn't make it happen. So I think that the schools are going to have to reach out to the fast food outlets that are there and ask to engage with them on exactly this, because there is going to come a point, I think, when somebody's going to wake up to the fact that the tsunami of type 2 diabetes that's going to swamp our health system is going to leave our health system incapable of responding to the everyday needs of New Zealanders. It is that serious.
Yeah.
And if they don't get on at the front of that wave and actually do something about diverting the worst impacts of it. But I agree with Dion, it's not just the fat in the food, it's the sugar as well. And there are kids drinking drinks a long time before they ever get to see a takeaway from one of the fast food chains. So we really do need to think about...
I understand this is only part of the issue, but I think this could be like something of significance to a part. And like you said, this is something like it's a tsunami coming through, and people are actually starting to realise and see this now. It's be good if we can start targeting this before it does get too late. And also because we are in the rebuild of Christchurch and we're all about promoting a healthy city, I think this is like a good time to start.
I agree, and we are absolutely up for playing a leadership role, but communities have got to reach out themselves.
Yep.
It really has to be a combined effort, because we can't do it for your community, but we can help you do it for yourselves. Certainly, and that's I know that I speak for everyone around the table when I say that. People will have different views about what can and can't be done, but absolutely that's the message. And I want to thank you, for all of the effort that you and your school community have gone to in terms of raising awareness around this issue, because it is about raising awareness. I don't think education is the solution, because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And you can have somebody, you could minimise the street frontage advertising, but while children are growing up knowing that M stands for McDonald's before they know any other letter of the alphabet, that's television advertising, and somebody else is allowing that to continue to happen. So it's really going to take a combined effort, but it's people like you who stand up and say enough is enough, it's time for change. You're going to help lead a nationwide conversation that if we don't have this and find the solutions now and get in front of that wave, our health system will be swamped. So thank you very much for everything that you've done and put into this.
Thank you so much for you guys taking an interest in this, and I really hope that we can together, and like you say, as a whole, really address this issue. Together.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.